Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Gala. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if that's more what you're interested in. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. So the first thing I want to go over here is the idea of our bullish count. Now within our bullish count, what we would be saying is that we are looking for this as an A, this is a B. Now we have come down towards this 0.854, and I don't want to see us lose this level again, because if we do, it becomes very unlikely that we're going to maintain this low at this 0.1551, and this would invalidate the idea of looking to extend out here. Now what we want to see here is effectively a 5-wave move developing here towards the upside. 1-to-1 is this 0.7460, and if we are looking for that idea of turning impulsive, what we need to see is a nice strong 5-wave structure developing up towards this zone here of this 17713. So that would be what we'd be looking for if we want to see this start to trend from our current position. If we did see a move up in this way, potentially what we could then see is a 4th and a 5th, which looks to push us up towards this 30 cents to this 21,661 as a possible target area for a 5th wave. Now if we are looking at this, we need to just start to see a few things. First I want to see us break out of this channel that we are currently sitting within, and then also I want to see us start to break some of these highs. Until we actually do that, we need to just be careful of the idea that this could still be a bigger corrective structure to the downside. So I'm going to be going over that within the video as well, but first we're going to talk about this bullish counts. Okay, so if we are looking at this as a potential breakout, what we are saying here is that we would have to start looking at this as a 1-2, and then we'd want to see 1-2s developing here to the upside before seeing price actually start to break up in a bigger way. Now the problem with this that I do have is that we can potentially count this as a 5-wave move here, but it would mean that this 3rd wave would have had an extension in the 5th wave, which is not as common, so it's already not ideal. What I'm just being cautious of is, like I said, until we actually break above this channel, we could just be in a big corrective move, which we'll go over in a second. But for this bullish move, effectively what I want to see us hold here is these previous lows. So the important ones here are going to be this 0.2311, this level here of this 0.2474, and then if we start to lose any of those, it starts to fall apart as a count. So the idea here would be that we have this as a 1-2. This now once again would be an expanding diagonal, which is not as common as the contracting variation, so still just being cautious of this. There is potential that this could be something like this instead. 1, 2, 3. We look for an overlap of this wave 1 down here, and we still see this 5th wave develop as a bigger expanding diagonal here. Then it would be an ending diagonal, because it would be made up of 3 wave moves instead of a 5-wave move as I have it here. So in this case, what we are looking for effectively is to treat this as another 1 and 2. Now the key thing here in the short term would be to continue to hold this 2561 to this 2535, and what I would want to see is 5-wave structure starting to develop to the upside. Invalidation of this count would come by crossing the 0.2478, in which case we would be looking for the potential that this is just a corrective move. Now for confidence that this is actually what's playing out, what we actually need to see here is a 5-wave move up towards this 0.327. Until we actually get that, we need to be very cautious of this area here, of this trend line, because this also aligns with one of our target boxes over here, which does have a few levels of naked points of control, particularly up into this trend line. We do have a daily and a weekly towards this 2994 to this 2997, and then higher up here we also do have one towards this 3055. So that would align with coming up into that area. So going to be careful if we do see price move up into that zone. So this would be what we want to see here. Effectively, if we're looking for a breakout, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we would want to get another 4th wave, then another 5th wave, then another 4th wave and a 5th wave, and continue to push up in this way. So this is going to be key here, that if we are looking for this move to the upside, looking to extend, we need to continue to hold these lows and see price actually develop in this way. Now we would only get a confirmation of this by pushing up towards this 4432. This is going to be our target here. What I want to see us do is actually break above this channel first, and then we can start looking for those additional fourth wave support areas, because these could change as this extends out. These targets here are just given the current structure that I have. You know, if we do start to get more extension, it's possible that this 3rd wave could potentially move up higher, and then that changes all these targets. But this is going to be our key area we're looking for, the 0.4432. If we get a move up towards this would align with having a bigger structure here, where we could see price push up towards this 5202 to this 4711. Now, what we'd want to see if we do see something like this develop is that we'd want to see this become either our A wave, get a B wave down, and then continue up in that C wave, or ideally in the more bullish case here, we'd want to see that actually develop as that bigger 1-2, and then looking for a push to the upside in a third wave. So that's looking at this idea as a bullish move to the upside here. Now, what we need to be careful of within this area is that we do still have some bearish situations which we need to be aware of. There is still the potential that, you know, this could just be a completed move here where this is W, X, and Y, and we have completed here, and we could be looking for that move to the upside. However, until we actually break out of this area here, we need to be cautious, because this could actually just become another 3-wave move, and this could become W, X, Y, X, and Z, and then we could see one more push to the downside here. So going to be on the lookout for this idea that if we do look to move down in this way, possibly what we could see is one more drop towards this level of this 1368 if we're going to do a 1-to-1 with this first W wave. So if we don't manage to develop that 5-wave structure, we need to be careful of this idea of one more drop to the downside in this manner. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that idea if we do see price breakdown. Now, the other way that we were discussing this within the macro was that we're looking for a C wave to the downside. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're still looking for a fifth. Invalidation of this would be crossing this 3610. So at the moment, what we need to be careful of is that for as long as we actually stay within this common rejection area here, which would be this 3058 to this 2339, and we are still within this channel, I will still be cautious of this idea that we could still see continuation to the downside. Now, if we do follow this blue count here and we do get a rejection off this level, effectively our target could be towards this zone of this 1634 to this 1347. So that would align with coming back down here one more time in a fifth wave. But then what we'd have to be mindful of is if this actually does play out in this way, then we would still have this yellow fourth wave and fifth wave to come. So this is why we need to sort of get back above some of these highs to invalidate these ideas, and breaking above this 3618 would invalidate the idea of this as a fourth wave. But really, until we break the highs, we need to just be cautious, because it could be, as I said, you know, this could just be another X wave here, and then we still see a 3-wave move down. So going to have to be cautious with this. Want to see the structure develop nice and strong to the upside if we are looking for that impulse. Now, the other way we could look at this as a possible idea of a 5-wave structure would be that we're looking for this as 1, 2, 3. Now we're looking for an expanding diagonal here. If this is the case, this is why we need to be cautious with this. If we just get something like this and we get a move up here towards this 1-to-1 level, we could actually just get this as just a corrective move as a fourth wave, as a possible zigzag here. Now, the zone we'd be looking for here to cross, we'd need to cross this level, would be this 30 cent 62. So if we just see 3 waves up here, and then we look to break down, then this could align with the idea that we are in some kind of an expanding diagonal here. Even if we see this as 1, 2, and then we do get this extension here, but fail to achieve that 1618, possibly we could get a move back up into this higher trend line from this wave 2, where this would still align with the idea of seeing a fifth wave to the downside. So this is why it's going to be crucial here, because invalidations of all these bearish counts come by actually breaking back above these zones. So going to have to just be a little bit patient and wait for the structure to form. And if it does continue to hold these lows, then potentially we can look for that idea of that break. But just need to be very careful with this, because it is looking quite corrective. Now, the other way that we could argue that this is taking place is we could just say that within this structure here, what we just have is effectively this is an A wave, B wave, C wave into this high. This is an X wave here, and then this is just an A, B, C. Now we have come up towards this level here of this 02872. Now this is a 0.618 of this W wave here, so this is technically enough to complete the move. So what we need to be cautious of is within the bearish case, we could start to break to the downside here. Now if we are looking at this possibly becoming a bigger structure, because the time comparison would suggest that this could look to get a bit bigger here, what we could still have is an additional push to the upside here in this blue C wave. So what this would be saying then is that this would be our A wave, we get a B wave down, and then we're looking for the C wave up. Now this would potentially look to push us up higher into these target areas, looking for equality of this W wave. So 786 would be here at this 3069, and then we have this 1-to-1 up here towards this 3340. So going to be keeping an eye on this if we do continue to hold these levels. The 1-to-1 off of this golden pocket area here would be this 3143, which would align with this 854. So going to be keeping an eye on that. Obviously we do still have those targets within this yellow box area, so that also is aligning with something like a 786 move, or move into this channel at least. So going to be keeping an eye on this. Now it's possible that this B wave could be completed already over here, in which case we could see price start to move to the upside here in a 5-wave structure, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something along those lines, where we would be looking for this low to hold here and then see price start to push to the upside in a 5-wave move. So this is why we need to be on the lookout here. This possibility of 5-wave structure here doesn't necessarily mean this is bullish. If we just get 5 waves here and we reject and start to lose this low, then effectively this would confirm that this is just a corrective move. Now alternatively, what we could have here is that this blue B wave is not complete. This is A, we form something like this, A, B, and C coming back up here. 50% will be an interesting zone coming back into these highs, and then we also do have, you know, this area here of this golden pocket, which would be an interesting zone, this 2765 to this 2754. Highest I'd want to see this come is towards a 786, this 2812. We can potentially wick this, but if we start consolidating above this, it becomes more likely we're going to see price look to take this high, which would invalidate this idea of this developing as this B wave in the way that I'm looking at it now. If we do see price move back up here, potentially what we could see is that move back into this lower target area here. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price come back down here, possibly we could look to sweep some of these lows. This 786 would bring us right back down into this low here, which would be quite an interesting level. So if we do see price come back down deeper, I would be keeping an eye on this low for a potential reaction. But then even here towards this golden pocket, we do have this low over here. So going to be keeping an eye on those if we do come down into these zones. So this kind of a move to the upside would just be a corrective move, which would not be good, because we would be anticipating that after having a corrective move up like this, we're going to see continuation to the downside. Now, if we want to say that this move is potentially completed into this high already, which is not my primary expectation here, but still something worth keeping an eye on, there is a way that we could count this in a direct breakdown. So what we would need to be cautious of here is if we are looking at this as 1, 2, and then effectively this is another 1, 2 here, what we could see is price could actually start to break down directly. Now, our typical rejection area would be this 2680. Moving above this would be the first indication that this count is potentially not in play. But really, until we actually take this 2717, this would not invalidate it. Even if we see something like this play out, potentially we could just be still forming this as a wave 2. So we need to just be cautious of that fact that until we actually take 2717, there is still potential to break down. Now, really, to invalidate this completely, we need to break back above this 28888. Now, if we are looking at this as a case, and I've taken this off of our current level here, if we do see price start to reject to the downside here, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down towards this 2408, this would align with the idea that this is becoming a 5-wave structure. And then what we'd have to be on the lookout for would be rejection of an additional 4th wave in the area of the previous 4th wave before looking for that continuation to the downside. So this could potentially mean that we see a move down towards 2342 to 2298 if we do continue to break down in this way. Now, what I'd be looking out for, though, if we do see a 5-wave structure down like this, is these don't come in isolation. So this would be looking at this as potentially A, B, and C from that point. So we'd have to watch a move to the upside. Anything back into this 2757 to this 2591 in a 3-wave structure could indicate that continuation and looking to break down deeper here. So going to be cautious on this, if this could develop into a 5-wave move to the downside. But you know, we need to just keep an eye on this. This is not my primary expectation, but still worth keeping an eye on if we start to break down deeper here. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we are currently above these. Now, these have printed one below the previous one. So this could indicate that we could see some bearish price action start to come in. If we get rejected off this 26.71, then potentially we could look to actually retest some of these central lines, which are sitting between this 26.41 and this 25.95. If we lose that level, then potentially we could see price get gravitated towards 25.119, 24.65, 23.64, and this 23.12 to the downside. If, however, we do see price hold this level or break above this, we do have other targets for today at this 27.69, 28.825, and this high here of this 29.24. Now price can always look to move through these, but I will be keeping an eye on these as possible zones that we could look for resistance and support to come in. Now if we have a look at this on the weekly, what we can see is that we do have a very tightly weekly spread here. Now this printed actually higher than the previous CPR lines here, so this is indicating that, you know, this week we were looking for that potential of a break to the upside. Now we've already moved up towards this zone of this S2 line. What I want to see here is if we do come back down here, whether we hold support at these central lines here between this 25.21 and this 25.02. If we do continue to hold this level, then possibly we could see price look to react back to the upside here. Another target to the upside here for this week is this 30 cent 41. So this is aligning with coming into our target box and this channel. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that if we do see price move up. Now, if we do lose these central lines, possible downside targets for this week is this 23.27. We have this 21.57, which will also align with coming back into our central channel here, which would be quite interesting. And then we also have this 19.66 lower down here as a possible target for this week. Now, if we throw the monthly on here, what we can see is that we have a very tight spread here, and these are actually much lower than the previous one. So we need to just be cautious because, you know, this could indicate that we could start to see some rejection here, particularly around this 3484. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price move towards the upside here and we actually start to lose some of these key levels, we could actually be looking for rather a move back down towards this 1834. Now, if we do maintain these and we continue to push to the upside targets that we have for this month are this 30 cent 91, 37.10, and this 43.31. So these higher targets here would align with that idea of this move starting to break to the upside here, and then this one over here could potentially be a target if we do see an additional push up here. And then if we do see a rejection at these levels, possibly what this could mean is we either come back for a retest of these central lines, or alternatively we're going to start looking for these downside targets to come into play. 1837, we have this 1216, and all the way down here we have this level of this 00584 as potential targets for this month to the downside. Now we don't always have to hit these targets. Sometimes we might only interact with one of them, sometimes we might not interact with any of them. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this if we do see price start to move to the downside. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.